like it's a super intelligent plushie or whatever, and it's got a vocabulary of 800,000 words, and it'll talk. It's better for you than your wife, which may or may not be true, but.
All right, on that note, second cold topic. If we accept that some things aren't always what they seem, and that occasionally ideas that sound far-fetched turn out to have some truth behind them, then it makes sense that people might start to question more. Maybe they start looking a little closer, maybe they stop taking things at face value, and on the surface, that doesn't seem like a bad thing. Skepticism, in a lot of ways, is what protects people from being misled. It's what pushes us to ask questions, to look for evidence, and to not just accept something because we're told it's true. But there's a point where that can start to shift. When questioning things doesn't just mean thinking critically, it starts to mean assuming there's always something hidden, always another motive, always something behind what you're being told. And at that point, it's no longer just skepticism. It starts to look more like cynicism. When truth isn't something that's evaluated, it's something that's withheld by default. So it raises a question. If skepticism is about asking questions and cynicism is about expecting the worst, where exactly is the line between the two? And maybe more importantly, how do you stay open-minded without sliding into a mindset where nothing feels trustworthy at all?
So you're asking where the line is.
Yes. Not like Friends, the line is a dot.
I was just about to say the line is a dot. So we know this from our friends over at Friends.
I don't think he successfully fixed his light. He still looks very dark.
It's going dark. It's still on, but it's dimming. It's dimming. I don't know. That whole I'm just asking questions thing, like where people do that as sort of that kind of snarky, hey man, I'm just asking questions. You know, it's weird. I do think that we should always ask. I mean, that's how anything should be. Religion. If you're not questioning your faith, then is it really faith at that point? If you're not questioning your beliefs, if you're, that's just, then you're just digging yourself in. You're just saying, it's just this way and that's all that it is. And if even a single question comes along and you go, I don't want to hear it, blah, 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 that is your faith really that strong? Is your belief system really that strong? If even a single question can cause you to have that kind of a reaction. So I think asking questions is always good. A degree of cynicism and skepticism is always good. You should always have an open mind, though. There is that balance. You need to have that ability to be open-minded enough to accept that, hey, what this person is saying is logical, and I should at least consider it, versus what that person is saying is just complete BS, and I'm not going to listen to it at all, and we're not going to even have a conversation, just shut it down, Now, there's certain things it doesn't matter. I mean, certain things should be shut down. Certain things we shouldn't listen to. Racist bull crap, and there's all sorts of things that we don't need to listen to. But
like the radio in the background,
like the phone ringing. Yes, all of that.
Never listen to that.
Yeah, but that's where I'm at. I mean, it is a fine line. It's a razor's edge to walk, Dan.
It would have been funnier if his ringtone was Dark Side of the Moon. I'm just saying.
Right.
Anyway.
That would have been great. I'm going to push back. You said that there's certain things we shouldn't listen to. And like racism, for example. I think we should listen. I don't think we should believe or buy in. If you're not listening to it and you're ignoring it, then how do you fight back on it? Because it's kind of the same thing you were saying about about if your faith isn't challenged so that you can strengthen it, then how strong is your faith really? That would go to the belief in things like racism, for example. If you're strongly against it, if you're not challenged and you're not fighting back against it, then how strong is your belief? How strong are your morals? I think you have to listen to everything. You don't have to follow it, but I don't think you can just brush things off and go, yeah, whatever, and walk away.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to, it's like the hate comments on the videos and stuff. I mean, some things, I'm not going to listen to them. I mean, after a while, because it's the same thing over and over and over again. You know, like some of the people that just say, you know, you're ugly, you're stupid. Like it's like, I get it. I'm ugly and I'm stupid. I understand that. You know, or I'm
not saying you have to respond to every single thing.
Right.
But I don't know if it makes sense to just completely like ignore something either.
Well, I don't know. Like certain things to me are just, my brain just kind of naturally tunes them out. I mean, someone screaming racial epithets or someone that just says, you know, this group is all bad or whatever, you know, and I'm using an extreme example on purpose, but I mean, those kinds of things, I'm pretty comfortable tuning out. Now, that doesn't mean, and I want to make this clear because, you know, I mentioned people like Alex Jones earlier and you know, there's people that get banned off of social media and I'm not for banning any sort of speech or, you know, removing those people from society. I think you should allow them to have a forum so that, you know, the mindset, you know, and so that instead of hiding in the shadows and being racist or bigoted or sinister in the shadows, they're out in the open. I'm all for that. But yeah, I think for the most part, when it comes to discourse, yeah, there's just certain things I'm not going to really tolerate.
I'm not saying you should tolerate it. I'm also saying you shouldn't ignore it. You know, Beth is talking about the line between skepticism and cynicism, and I think both can be fed by relying on constant reinforcement of your feed, you know, of the things you want to see, of your beliefs, of all of that. You have to have things that constantly challenge you, even when they aren't things that you approve of, because at the end of the day, you know, steel sharpens steel. And I don't know, I personally, I find it makes me better when I confront things that I wholeheartedly disbelieve in, rather than just going, yeah, whatever, and walking away.
Yeah.
And I think it makes me more well-rounded. You know, obviously I have an extreme amount of skepticism towards what they're trying to tell me, but I'm not going to just poo-poo it either.
Well, I don't poo-poo everything. I mean, there's certain things that I'm always willing to listen to constructive criticism or things that challenge beliefs that are done in a logical way. It's just when it comes at you from like the ad hominem or from a sensationalist, ridiculous point, I have a hard time really taking that seriously. But I'm always willing to listen to a logical, well thought out discussion. I think that's really an important thing to do. I don't think we should shut that out, even if it is something that totally disagrees with what we believe. You know, it's just like when I have a discussion with people about religion. Yeah, I'm an agnostic. What is agnostic? Agnostic, it's not knowing. It's not atheism. People confuse the two. Which means I'm here to listen to whatever someone has to say about a faith, about a religion, about a belief, because I'm willing to hear it. I just haven't heard anything that completely convinces me. And that gets me over to a side, so to speak, you know, but that doesn't mean that I'm not willing to listen.
this is a tangent from our tangent, but you never will. You will never hear something that 100% convinces you.
Well, I'm not even
That is
saying
the whole
100%.
that is the whole definition of faith, my friend.
Well, but I mean, and I'm not asking for, well, maybe, I mean, I'd love to see, I'd love to see proof. I'd love to see proof beyond reasonable doubt, right? But
I mean, look, we know the super devil. We know that.
the jar of
With
marmalade, the
and the
motorcycle.
marmalade.
Yes.
This
Yes.
week we've had visual proof. So, so you can believe in that, but the rest of it does require a leap of faith.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's my damn science mind that just requires me to at least have, some stuff to build on. And that's where I'm at, I guess. And I it's not just from a religious standpoint that I consider myself agnostic. I'm that way about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I like to, you start from a neutral position, a position of, zero, and then build evidence that, kind of convinces me that something is or is not. And I don't know, it's just a scientific approach to things.
Well, wouldn't that scientific agnostic approach tie very well into the last thing we were talking about with conspiracy theories and kind of what to believe and what not to believe?
Sure.
Kind of goes hand in hand.
It does.
It'd be a very good approach to it. I mean, like, again, with JFK, with the moon, with things like that, I don't know what to believe. So, give me evidence.
Right.
And let me sort it out.
Yeah, and it's got to be something that makes sense, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. In most cases, it doesn't have to be this overwhelming, oh my God, it's a gotcha, and it's right there, it's black and white. I just need the dots kind of connected, and I can connect the last couple of dots. If you take me up, close enough, I can get the rest of the way there myself, generally speaking.
Preponderance of the evidence in TCF talk?
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes I need beyond a reasonable doubt. Sometimes I just need preponderance. Sometimes I just need a little bit more than not. I just need that small tip of the scale. Sometimes I need an overwhelming amount. It just depends on what it is. So that's how it is. So, but I do believe that I think, we talk about critical thinking, Dan. I think critical thinking has been lost.
Yeah.
And I think that part of critical thinking is the balance of skepticism, being able to say, that doesn't make sense, but also looking at why it doesn't make sense or why something could happen. What stories sound believable? What stories comport with the facts of whatever it is that you're talking about? And I think that's why so many people are so willing to just believe anything that anybody says to them these days. And why, so much, even more now than ever, the people are able to fall for scams and all sorts of crazy stuff is because, part of it is people are not skeptical. They think that it's something, somebody's going to just, in 1999, we had the Nigerian prince scam on AOL, right? Where you get the message and a Nigerian prince is, got a $1.5 million for you. And all you have to do is send over a $5,000 transfer fee and da-da-da-da-da. And how stupid does that sound? But now it's all in cryptocurrencies, and it's all you have to do is surrender this or go onto this website or just click this link. Happiness today. It's like, so,
yeah.
But people are, and sometimes, and those are obvious examples, right? But there's a lot of times where it's a lot less obvious. There's a lot of catfishing schemes, and there's a lot of very subtle schemes out there. I mean, there's a lot of people that are big time influencers on social media that are able to use that trust that they build with their audience, or the fact that they're entertaining and they make us laugh, or they they do funny things, so of course we're going to believe some product that they sell, or we think that AI has advanced to this point where you can buy a plushie online that's going to clean your house for you, and it only costs $39.95, and that's almost a real thing, by the way. I mean, these AI ads that they show you for these, like, it's a super intelligent plushie or whatever, and it's got a vocabulary of 800,000 words, and it'll talk. It's better for you than your wife, which may or may not be true, but
in reality, it's just
it's just a damn one of these squishmallows, and someone put a voice box in it that says like 3 things. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, Dan. I don't know. It's I guess that's my point. We just lost the critical thinking. I think that's kind of where the conversation's at for me.
I agree. So we got off on a little bit of a tangent, but we've got a few minutes left. Do you want to reframe this, Beth?
Well, I was just going to rewind a little bit on what Michael had said when you were talking about preponderance of evidence and whatnot. Isn't it completely impractical, though, to expect to be able to verify everything personally? Because even what you learned in school, you just accepted it at face value. You learned that 1 + 1 = 2. You learned that certain explorers did certain things, and the only proof you were given was a textbook. You didn't see the original documents. You didn't actually verify any of that yourself, but you still believed it.
Well, I think we believed it because we were taught by, a higher authority, so to speak. Teachers, as children, it's our belief that teachers know more than we do, and they should. And that textbooks are, that's what we learn from. That's the document that as 7, 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old kids, we learn from that.
But wouldn't a priest who has gone to seminary and done extensive training then also have a higher intelligence or a higher understanding of religion to then have you believe what they were saying? I mean, by that same logic.
Sure.
I'm just pushing back.
Right. They would have you believe it. Now, of course, what happens when we grow up is that we learn that some of the stuff that was in those textbooks was bullshit. Columbus, a lot of the stories that we learned about Christopher Columbus were bullcrap. I mean, it's just, and then, a lot of stuff that people tell you, and, not everything is as it seems. And so with that logic, I mean, then you start to think, well, was everything I was taught as a child BS? Because I went to Sunday school, right? I mean, we went to church every week. We did Sunday school. I asked too many questions, so they were like, don't come back. I was, I wasn't, it's not just 48-year-old Mike that's a jerk. I was 8-year-old Mike and I was a jerk. So, it's I've had a long history of being an ass, but that's, I don't know. I've always just been the kind of person to ask a lot of questions. So, even in school, I was like, well, how do we know this? And then they're like, well, just go to the library and you'll find out. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess that's all right. I'll go do that. I was hoping you would be able to tell me, but all right, I'll go do that.
That's fair. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words now. No, I really am. Yeah.
Well, okay. How about we were talking about cynicism?
I just don't know how to respond to him.
So, do you think it's possible that for some people being cynicistic. That's not a word. What's the
Cynical.
word there?
Being a cynic or
Yes,
cynical.
thank you.
Cynicalisticism.
Makes them feel more informed, even if they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'd buy into that.
So, I mean, we're sitting here discussing this saying critical thinking is lost, but I'm sure there's other people who believe all this weird stuff that we don't believe that are sitting there probably thinking the same thing about us, that we're just not thinking it through the right way.
Well, that's where discussion has to come in, doesn't it? Which is one of the things that this show models is discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, what we try to model over on TCF, and I think in a different way, Mike tries to model over on his channel too.
Yeah.
Is being able to talk about things. And discussion isn't always pretty or smoothly flowing either. I mean, just a
no.
couple of minutes ago, I'm like, I don't even know what to say.
Well, yeah.
You know, so
Well,
But I-
and
but I
I
think-
pushed
but I-
back on Michael a little
but
bit.
I think people expect it to be. And because they expect, I don't know if they expect, they want things to be easy. That's part of the problem, is discussion is hard.
it is.
It is.
And having back and forths is difficult. And, you know, we kind of take it up a notch here because we don't even know what we're going to talk about until we start talking. So that really adds to the difficulty level. But we do it because we like to be challenged, and I think it puts on a better example for people. But, you know, it's not easy enough for people, I guess, to actually talk things out in a world where everything is handed to you, it would seem. And, you know, there's soon, according to so many, will be handed everything because the robots will do everything. Which we proved this morning is not the case.
That's yep.
But that's the hope. So I think just people don't want to be challenged anymore.
Real quick, I was just going to say too, we didn't really get to this aspect of it, but the other thing when you are trying to have a proper discussion or banter or back and forth with an idea is that a lot of people aren't able to separate their own opinion and their thoughts from the emotional side of it. And I think for a lot of people, that's the biggest downfall in conversation, because you can't successfully have a conversation if you're just going to get pissed off and walk away when somebody says something you disagree with. But that we see that happen all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is so true.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen that.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I think that's one of, even if it's not just critical thinking, which is a huge problem, but I think the separation of your own personal emotions and being able to have a conversation is very much a lost art form.
Yeah. Well, if you want proof of that, go over to TCF on that video where we talked about Judge Boyd and look at the comments section.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody is either pissed off to no end that she is leaving the bench, or they're overjoyed, and neither side actually wants to break it down and go, well, what did she do right? And what did she do wrong? And what are some of the reasons why maybe she did get voted out? And what are some of the reasons why maybe she should stay? It's just we're hunkered down in our positions, and that's that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, that's really, and that's where we get not just in all aspects of our life, I guess, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get stuck into this one mindset. And if it's challenged, some people just lose their minds. I mean, the Judge Boyd thing is a great example. I was thinking, Dan, when we were talking about the moon, you did that on, remember months ago, we were talking about the moon on TCF on the pre-show.
Yeah.
All pissed off.
A couple people left. They were like, that's not true. There's no gases on Earth. There's nothing that doesn't happen. Nope. And it's like, well, all you would have had to do is a simple Google search, man.
They left and they never came back.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
And it wasn't controversial. It's
No.
stuff
This
that's
wasn't like-
actually true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't even conspiracy tinfoil hat. Yeah.
It's amazing what sometimes sets people off. Like I can have these, in my old live show days, I used to have these deep political discussions and yeah, people would get mad, but sometimes I'd say the most innocuous comment and people would freak out.
Oh yeah.
And I saw that with Dan in the movie. He's like, well, you know, just because gravity is like 1/6 of Earth, but there is a very, very thin atmosphere, and there's gases in the moon. And this guy was like, there he's not, mate. There's no gases on the moon. What are you talking about? He's lost his mind. You know,
Yeah.
so.
And this was a guy who was on the pre-show a couple of weeks prior.
Yeah. He was like your second subscriber or something like that after yourself. It's like you beat Beth for subscription.
He did.
The second dude, I was like, what is going on? And he was like all friendly, and he threw it all away because of a comment that was easily researchable.
Yeah.
About the moon of all the damn things.
You just have to laugh.
Yeah.
Weird world.
It is.
Hey, thanks for watching. In the Blind is a news show for Mike and me, and we'd really love it if you could hit the subscribe button, do a thumbs up, leave a comment. All of those things really help this channel get found by other people, so we'd really appreciate the support. Thanks so much.